Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome very cordially His Excellency Premier Li Keqiang, the Premier of the People's Republic of China.
尊敬的十二部主席，尊敬的乔纳森总统，尊敬的非洲国家的参加会议的各位国家元首、政府首脑、女士们、先生们、朋友们，很高兴作为非洲大陆以外的中国政府
a representative of the Chinese government's delegation, which is a non-African country, to attend the World Economic Forum on Africa. I wish to thank Dr. Schwab for his kind invitation and President Jonathan for the thoughtful arrangements. The choice of the summit theme, Forging Inclusive Growth, Creating Jobs, is most relevant. On behalf of the Chinese government, I wish to extend our warmest congratulations on the opening of the summit. The African continent is an important birthplace of the world's civilizations. In the last century, this ancient and fascinating land has seen tremendous changes. The African people have seized the destiny into their own hands, realized the national liberation and the political and the state independence. Entering the new century, the African economy has shown great vitality and dynamism. It has kept an average growth rate of over 5% for more than a decade and stood the test of the international financial crisis. Africa as a whole has maintained social stability. Its economies have entered a fast track of growth, and it is a continent on the rise. 3 days ago, when I addressed the AU headquarters, I said, Africa is a pole in the world in 3 dimensions. First of all, Africa has 54 countries who want to speak with one voice. It has already become an important pole on the world's political stage. Second, Africa's economic aggregate has exceeded $2 trillion. In 2013, 7 out of the 10 fastest growing countries in the world were in Africa. It has already become an important pole in global economic growth. Thirdly, Africa has over 1,500 ethnic groups speaking over 2,000 languages. It is an expression of cultural diversity. Hence, it is a colorful pole in human civilization. Just now, we heard from the moderator, unique and language perhaps from Southern Africa. We salute to such diversity. In the world political and economic landscape, it is better to have more poles than fewer poles. Africa's rise as a new pole in the world will make the world more democratic, more stable, more robust, more diverse and colorful, and more conducive to global peace, development, and progress. Ladies and gentlemen, inclusive growth has become a universally accepted approach to development. To realize employment, fairness, and balanced development within a country is inclusive growth, and to realize balanced development among countries and the regions is also inclusive growth. Mutually beneficial cooperation between China and Africa. Altogether, we have 2.4 billion people and more. Our cooperation has contributed to their lot and contributed to the balanced development of the world economy. This in itself is the greatest inclusive growth in the world. Africa is home to the largest number of developing countries. Although many African countries have seen their economies take off, they still face tough challenges as weak infrastructure, inadequate employment, and a large impoverished population. China is the world's largest and most populous developing country. Although its economic aggregate is among the world's top, however, it still trails about 100 countries in terms of the UN Human Development Index. China and Africa face many similar issues, and the development of each side is an opportunity for the other. Since entering the new century, the strong growth in China has generated many more exports from Africa and gave strong support to Africa's rapid growth. While the immense development potential of Africa has attracted Chinese companies to invest and do business here, this also expanded the space of China's economic development. Africa has the practical need for infrastructural and industrial development, whereas China has surplus capacity in investment, construction, and production in this regard. Our economies are highly complementary, and by conducting mutually beneficial cooperation and drawing upon each other's strength, we will definitely inject greater momentum into our economic and social development. Ladies and gentlemen, neither the Great Pyramids nor the Great Wall was built by one individual. Win-win results can only be achieved when people work together in unison. Half a century ago, the late Chinese Premier Zhou Enlai visited Africa, during which he put forward 5 principles for China's relations with Africa and 8 principles for China's assistance to Africa. China has honored these principles all along. Last year, President of China Xi Jinping visited Africa, and he laid down 4 principles for China's relations with Africa, namely sincerity, real results, affinity, and good faith. China will follow these principles, seize the new historical opportunities, and work with Africa to advance our cooperation under the framework of 461. Let me explain. 4 principles, i.e., insisting on sincerity, equality, enhancing unity and mutual trust, pursuing inclusive development, and innovating practical cooperation. 6 projects, namely industrial cooperation, financial cooperation, cooperation on poverty reduction, environmental protection, people-to-people exchanges, and cooperation on peace and security. One major platform, that is the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation. Through these efforts, we want to meet Africa's new aspirations, build an upgraded version of China-Africa cooperation, and elevate our strategic partnership to new heights. To realize inclusive growth, infrastructure, especially transportation, should go first. This is an important foundation for economic takeoff for developing countries. We will continue to make economic infrastructure development as a priority for China-Africa cooperation. On the basis of the action plan that we are working with the AU for African transnational and transregional infrastructure cooperation, we will jointly promote connectivity on the continent.